Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Hunt Club podcast. We are on the product briefings show, and today we have a very familiar face. Gearoid, you want to say hello to the audience once again?
Hi everyone. Yep, Garrett Farrell here as Senior Group Product Manager at Vectra.
Yeah, a very familiar face. You are in a lot of our podcasts, so if you haven't seen those, please go take a look and see his beautiful face in our podcast or his beautiful voice if you're just listening. But today we have some really awesome pieces of our product that we want to talk about, specifically around our attack graphs and how it maps to our modern attacks with Vectra AI. So we have three things, and we have a couple slides on it just to talk about each thing. So the first one is tracking patient zero with targeted detections here. So Garrett, can you talk a little bit about what this is, what this looks like, and some of the benefits that we can see with this type of enhancement on our attack graphs?
Absolutely. So our attack graphs are about giving people a visual understanding of exactly what's happened when they look at an alert that Vectra's fired. It's all well
Mhm.
and good getting information, but time to time, you don't have the time as a SOC analyst to be able to look through tables of data, getting a full deep understanding of everything that's happened. You want to be able to perceive it, to be able to look at it and say visually,
Mhm.
this makes sense. To do that, we created the attack graph, which gives you that visibility. It means you can immediately see what's happening. And the feedback to it has been great. People are loving it, but there's always more we can do. So,
Mhm.
biggest question everyone has anytime they're looking at an alert is, okay, well, who's patient zero?
Mhm.
They're in any attack, either this somebody must have been attacked first. And that initial point of compromise is always very interesting. And it's a key question any analyst has. Who
Mhm.
was the first person hacked and how did they get in? Where did they come from? And realistically, whenever you look at an detection or a host or an account, it's not enough to be able to say, well, these are the people who were targeted here. These are the where they went.
Mhm.
They also need to see how they got here. So effectiveness means that even if there's no direct C2 channel to a host, if say there's lateral movement from another host, or if say credentials were created for this account by another account in the identity space, then we're going to show that we're going to say this host was the target of these attacks. And we're going to showcase that so you can go immediately, oh, patient zero. Perfect. I know exactly what's happening.
Mhm. Gotcha. And you're gonna dive into this enhancement in a demonstration in a little bit here, but I can definitely see this as a benefit for like forensics in a way, like looking back, like, oh, this is what happened and how it happened. Let's keep an eye on this in future states, right? Something like that.
Exactly, but not even in forensics. Like in an investigation of an active incident, this is the
Mm,
question you have. The first question you have, well, the first two questions you have are who's patient zero and what's the blast radius. You need to get in the feel
mm,
the potential impact is, and so
mm-hmm,
you're trying to find these questions as quickly as possible. And that's what we're showing.
mm-hmm. Gotcha. And on the topic of blast radius, I think that's our second enhancement here, which is our C2 blast radius enhancement. So can you talk more about what this is, what this means, and some of the benefits that we get from seeing this?
Exactly. So let's say we have a detection for a hidden tunnel to some remote domain. The obvious question is anyone else talking to this domain? Are there any other C2 endpoints that we might be worried about? Like, what's the potential
Mm-hmm.
of this incident? Um, Getting that data has historically been quite challenging in Vectra, and in any tool really at all. You need to try and go in and deeply be able to understand exactly what's happening. But now with this enhancement, it's right there in the attack graph for you to see. So if we have any incident where multiple different hosts have the same C2 endpoint, we're just going to show that in the UI. It means you can understand the full scope of compromise, be able to say with confidence, these are who else we think is involved in the attack. And also, if there's 200,000 hosts connecting to the same endpoint, it might just be the latest social media trend that everyone's talking to. And so you can,
Mm,
oh, yeah, well, either we are so in trouble here that it doesn't matter anymore, or it's actually fine. And it means you can really quickly triage it out and see exactly what's happening. So the idea here is
see.
really easily expose potential blast radius.
So what I'm understanding here is that prior to this C2 blast radius enhancement, we'd have to essentially look at hosts from different like not instances, but different like modules or like widgets within the UI and kind of like piece together like, oh, this one is talking to this one's talking to this one, and it's not all in a condensed graph, right?
Exactly. We have the information, we just make it harder to get to.
But now it's easier, so that's awesome. All right,
We've
our
added
last one is
insights. So go ahead.
go ahead.
I
No,
was
you go ahead.
I was going. We've added more insights and we've given you more data, and we've added so much useful information into the attack graph that there's kind of a risk it can become overwhelming sometimes.
Right. And because it can be overwhelming, that's why we have this thing called vector perspective. Or you can see, it's also called focus view. That's I think that's what how it's noted in our knowledge base articles. But please tell us more about what vector perspective is.
Exactly. So Vectra is not just giving you alerts and telling you good luck. We know what's important and we know what you need to look at in the first place. The constant thing we hear whenever people look at the kind of graphs that we've exposed here in the UI is there's too much. It's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
like examples of like 200 data points, and it's just like it's impossible to be able to quickly say, okay, well, what actually happened here? It can get very tiring and it just slows analysts down and causes them stress.
Mm-hmm.
So Vectra's defined um, effectively an AI-driven perspective or a focus on what actually the analyst should look at first. There is more information. We present everything, but by default, we focus on the pieces that matter. It's all about
Mm-hmm.
giving you guys less so that you can actually look at what matters and then work it from there.
Yeah. And I think this ties back to a blog that we not recently posted, but maybe like 6 months ago,
Mm.
about like cognitive load and like when you are presented with all that information, that's a lot of cognitive load. And what we're doing here is lessening that to make things more actionable, to make workflows a lot more streamlined, and just to, remove that burden of like understanding what is going on. Um, I had this like crazy gift that's going super fast here. So why don't we kind of pivot to you demonstrating these enhancements on the product itself? So I'm gonna give you
Absolutely.
the reins here. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay.
So you can see my
What are we
screen.
looking at? Yes, I
Here
can
is an
see it.
attack that we actually have seen in the wild. This is on one of our systems, but you can see here that we are showing for this Deacon desktop host a collection of activities that's actually pretty interesting. So you can see
Hmm.
at the bottom the actual timeline. Some hidden HTTPS tunnels happened first. The the IP's targeting actually came in here. We can actually click into that and see it was this IP and also this domain.
Hmm.
And we can see that actually it was targeted with two external actions, suspicious remote execution and an internal stage loader from this Piper desktop.
Hmm.
The Piper desktop has the exact same hidden HTTPS tunnels. The exact same IP address
Oh.
has targeted both of them. So we know that
Hmm.
these machines are going to the same endpoint, or sorry, are
Hmm.
talking to the same C2 channel. And I can actually see, oh, well, you know, this guy's already actually been targeted by Piper Desktop. I need to look at Piper Desktop first. So I can
Hmm.
look into that and I can see, well, hey, what's going on here? Um, yeah, never loads. Yeah, what's going on here? Oh, well, I can actually see what's going on here. I can see, yeah, Deacon Desktop was targeted. I can see there was some recon of a demo server. I can see again the hidden HPS tunnels, but I now know that actually the extent of it is just these two systems, Piper and Deacon are the thing.
So
But
is
you'll
that
notice
patient zero right there that we're
this
looking
is
at?
what we believe patient zero, yeah. Obviously,
Okay.
you might want to do more due diligence and more research, but we're pretty confident right now that this looks like it's the extent of it that we need to make sure that it's not just isolated these, but this is definitely where it came from.
Hmm.
What's interesting is though there's a lot going on here, and I use the unfocused view to showcase what's happening. But actually, if we go back and we look at it, it's much cleaner if we simplify it
Hmm.
down. just by switching down to a focus view, we can see the things that matter. We can see Piper desktop connected to Deacon desktop, suspicious remote execution, and an internal stage loader. The hidden HTTPS tunnels are what matter as well, but that's all we're going to show. Those two key pieces are the pieces that need to be showcased for the user, for the analyst, and we've been able to really streamline it down. If we jump to a
Hmm.
different example, from the respond view, I think I can showcase, say, our admin user. But you can see here, there's actually a lot going on in this view, but the focus view is actually keeping it streamlined as much as possible because otherwise it's
Hmm.
just completely overwhelming. There's so many detections
Hmm.
user that you actually just can't really see what's happening. So we
Hmm.
offered a driven focus view. Suspicious sign-on is important. Privilege anomaly is important. User hijacking, suspicious mailbox rules. These are all key elements that our AI-driven perspective has said you need to focus on these things first. And
Hmm.
that's basically it. It's about giving the information that's needed and making it as clear as possible. Obviously,
Absolutely.
maps was really good in certain situations, but if you want to look at a flow view and still clearly understanding the progression of what's happening, this is the best way about it. And you can see really clearly exactly what's happened. And it's about showing the links that matter. In this case, I can see immediately Jump Station 5. Why is that also
Hmm.
prioritized? A privilege anomaly. These are both connected. This isn't just the account I need to look at. I need to look at both this and also the jump station as part of the same potential incident.
Hmm. Hmm. And there's definitely situations where you don't even use the focus view too, right? Like, what are those situations where you want to like toggle that off? I'm just wondering.
Of course. So it's important to understand the picture of what exactly has happened for a user. Like if we look
Hmm.
at this, we see all we see is suspicious remote execution, and then we see more suspicious remote execution. It just seems like this user went quite quickly, which is perfectly feasible. But it's actually important to understand, well, what reconnaissance did they do in this case? This is the one that was hidden. A port scan was performed
Mm.
back. And that gives us a painting to understand, oh, well, they actually were looking around first. They didn't just go immediately where they are. A lack of recon is quite interesting in terms of understanding, well, what exactly is happening. If I see something malicious without any recon behavior, then that seems more like an insider threat to me because they know exactly where they were going. If there's no recon activity, or in this case, say if there's other activity hidden, then I don't get the full picture. But for me, it's
Mm.
first view on these are the things that matter. This is what I need to see. And then I'll go in and I'll go, okay, cool. Thanks, AI. I have an idea of what happens, what's important. I want to paint the full picture. I want to see everything. And then that helps me to work from there and go and get a really clear understanding. In many
Yeah,
cases,
makes sense.
even just from looking at the focus view, I can go, now, not in this case, because this is definitely malicious. But if it were
Hmm.
benign, I could go, oh yeah, this is fine. I know exactly what's happening here. I can just close this as benign immediately.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I don't have to look through the extra activity in there that is going to confuse me, slow me down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that totally makes sense. And I think this like really goes back to like what we started with in the first part of our podcast here about how this is mapping to the modern attack. Modern attack is very complicated. There's a lot of different parties, interacting with one another. And, that patient zero could be like somewhere far away. And it's really important to understand that. So the fact that we have something that visualizes that modern attack on our UI, I think it's really important for security professionals to, actually take action and investigate and do all that is necessary to stop that modern attack. So thank you for doing that demonstration, Gerald. That was really, really great. Um,
Thanks, Zoe. You're dead right, though. It's a very challenging thing. Attacks are hiding in the noise.
yeah.
They're moving between identity and network. Identity is the newest kind of source of an attack. Um, the fact that we can showcase very quickly exactly what's happened and said, this is what you need to look at. Not here's everything. We're saying this is what matters. Really will help speed analyst investigations up.
Yeah, it's huge. It's going to change the way that like how fast of mean time to respond, mean time to investigate, mean time to acknowledge. There's so many like factors that will get faster, more optimized with this attack graph. So Yeah, thanks for taking the time to walk us through that, Yarrow.
For sure.
So audience, what do you guys think about the attack graphs? Do you think that this is helpful in your, day to day? Do you think there's improvements we can make? Please leave a comment and we'd love to read it. But yeah, thank you, Garrett, for your time. Really appreciate that. And we'll see you next time.
Perfect, Zoe.
Bye.